Does that stubborn headache or tight chest ever feel like it's trying to tell you something? What if the pain you've been ignoring isn't just random, it's a secret message from your soul, begging you to listen? Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, taught us that every ache, every tension, is a signal from your unconscious, pointing you toward healing and transformation. In this video, we're diving into the hidden spiritual meaning behind your pain, uncovering real-life stories that'll hit close to home, and sharing practical steps to decode your body's wisdom from your head to your feet. Every discomfort has a story, and today, you'll learn how to hear it. Stick around, because this could change the way you see your body, your pain, and your path to wholeness forever. Let's get started. What if your body is trying to tell you something profound, but you've been too busy to listen? That nagging headache, that tightness in your chest, that ache in your back, they're not just random discomforts. According to Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, your body is a mirror of your soul, reflecting the deeper truths of your unconscious mind. Every pain, every tension, is a message, a signal from within that something in your life emotionally, psychologically, or spiritually is out of balance. The question is, are you ready to hear what it's saying? Let's start with a story. Meet Anna, a 29-year-old marketing manager who seemed to have it all together: a great job, a supportive circle of friends, and a bright future. But for months, she battled chronic migraines that no doctor could fully explain. Painkillers helped temporarily, but the headaches kept coming back, especially during high-pressure work deadlines. One day, exhausted and frustrated, Anna sat down with a journal and asked herself, what's really going on? As she wrote, she realized her migraines started when she took on a job that demanded constant overthinking and left her no time for herself. Her body wasn't just hurting, it was screaming for rest, for balance, for a pause she hadn't allowed herself to take. Carl Jung would say Anna's migraines were no accident. He believed that the body and psyche are deeply connected, and physical symptoms are often the voice of the unconscious, trying to get our attention. When we ignore our emotions, stress, grief, or unresolved pain, they don't disappear. They find another way to speak, often through our bodies. Carl Jung's famous words, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate, ring true here. For Anna, her migraines were her unconscious mind's way of saying, slow down, you're carrying too much. Her pain wasn't just a problem, it was a call to heal. This idea of the body as a mirror is central to Carl Jung's teachings. He saw the shadow, the hidden, repressed parts of ourselves as a key player in our pain. The shadow holds the emotions we don't want to face: anger we've buried, grief we've ignored, or fears we've pushed aside. When we suppress these feelings, they don't vanish, they manifest as physical symptoms. A headache might signal mental overload. A tight chest might hold unprocessed grief. A sore back might carry the weight of responsibilities that aren't truly yours. Your body doesn't lie. It's a truth teller, speaking when your mind refuses to listen. Let's look at another example. Michael, a 5-year-old teacher, struggled with constant shoulder pain that no massage or physical therapy could fully relieve. He was the rock for his family, always taking on their problems, helping his parents with finances, supporting his sister through a divorce, even coaching his students through their struggles. But one evening, as he sat alone, he realized he hadn't taken a moment for himself in years. His shoulder pain wasn't just physical, it was his body begging him to stop carrying everyone else's burdens. When Michael started saying no to extra responsibilities and carving out time for himself, His pain began to ease. His body was speaking. And for the first time, he listened. Carl Jung's wisdom helps us understand this connection. He believed that pain is never random. It's a message from the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human experience that shapes our psyche. For empaths, people pleasers, or anyone who's learned to prioritize others over themselves, the body often becomes the last line of defense, sounding the alarm when the mind ignores the truth. But here's the problem. Most of us aren't taught to listen. We pop a pill, push through, or dismiss our pain as normal. We treat the symptom but ignore the story. And as Carl Jung warned, what we don't make conscious will keep showing up louder and louder until we pay attention. So, what does it mean to listen to your body? It's not about finding a quick fix or silencing the pain. It's about asking, what's out of balance in my life? It's about giving yourself permission to feel the emotions you've buried, whether it's stress, sadness, or anger. For Anna, listening meant taking a step back from her demanding job and prioritizing rest. For Michael, it meant setting boundaries and reclaiming his own time. For you, it might mean something different, but it starts with one simple act: pausing to breathe, to reflect, to ask your body, what are you trying to tell me? Let's try a quick exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and scan your body. Where do you feel tension or discomfort? Maybe it's a knot in your stomach, a heaviness in your chest, or an ache in your shoulders. Now, ask yourself, what pain in my body keeps coming back? Could it be tied to something deeper? Maybe it's stress from a job that drains you, or grief you haven't fully processed. Don't judge the feeling, just notice it. This small act of listening is the first step toward healing. Because, as Carl Jung taught, healing begins when we make the unconscious conscious. Here's the takeaway. Your body is your ally, not your enemy. It's not trying to betray you with pain. It's trying to guide you toward balance, toward wholeness. Carl Jung believed that every symptom is an invitation to return to yourself, to face the parts of you that need attention, love, or release. So, the next time you feel that familiar ache, don't just reach for a solution. Pause it. Listen. Ask. Your body is speaking. Are you ready to hear its wisdom? What's one pain in your body that's been trying to get your attention? Think about it. Maybe share it in the comments below. Because when you listen, you begin to heal. Have you ever noticed a headache creeping in when life feels like it's spiraling out of control, or maybe a stiffness in your neck that won't let go? No matter how much you stretch, these aren't just random aches, they're messages from your body, whispering truths your mind might be ignoring. Carl Jung, the visionary psychologist, taught us that the head and neck hold profound spiritual meaning, often tied to overthinking, mental overload, and a desperate need to control what can't be controlled. When these parts of your body speak, they're asking you to pause, release, and find flexibility not just in your muscles, but in your thoughts and approach to life. Let's meet Jake, a 4-year-old entrepreneur who prided himself on always having a plan. His small business was his life. But when it started struggling, Jake refused to let go. He spent sleepless nights analyzing numbers, replaying decisions, and trying to force things to work. Soon, he noticed a constant tightness in his neck, like a knot that wouldn't unravel. Doctors called it stress, but no amount of medication or massage fully helped. One day, a friend asked Jake, what would happen if you stopped trying to control everything? That question hit him like a lightning bolt. He realized his neck pain wasn't just physical, it was his body begging him to let go of his rigid grip on a failing venture and embrace the unknown. Carl Jung would say Jake's neck pain was a signal from his unconscious, a call to address the imbalance in his psyche. Carl Jung believed that the head and neck are deeply connected to our mental state. Headaches often arise when we're overwhelmed. Our minds racing with thoughts we can't quiet. They're a sign that your brain is working at a pace your body can't sustain. Neck pain, on the other hand, points to a lack of flexibility not just in your muscles, but in your beliefs, decisions, or approach to life. When you cling to control, resist change, or hold on to outdated ideas, your neck tightens, as if to say, loosen up, life needs to flow. This connection makes sense when you think about it. Your head is the seat of your thoughts, the command center where you analyze, plan, and worry. But when you overthink replaying the past, stressing about the future, your mind becomes a pressure cooker, and your body pays the price. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow comes into play here. The shadow holds the parts of ourselves we suppress, like the fear of failure Jake buried, or the vulnerability he refused to acknowledge. When we ignore these emotions, they don't disappear. They manifest as tension, as pain, as a headache that won't quit. Your body is sounding the alarm, asking you to stop running and start listening. Let's look at another story. Sarah, a 27-year-old graphic designer, was no stranger to headaches. They'd hit hardest during deadlines. When she'd push herself to meet her boss's impossible standards, she'd stay up late, perfecting every detail, convinced that any mistake would cost her job. But one day, during a particularly bad migraine, Sarah took a moment to breathe and ask herself, why am I so afraid of messing up in that quiet pause? She realized her headaches weren't just about work. They were tied to a deeper fear of not being enough. Her body was telling her to stop chasing perfection and start trusting herself. When she began setting boundaries at work and prioritizing rest, her headaches became less frequent. Her body had been speaking all along. She just needed to listen. Carl Jung's teachings remind us that pain in the head and neck is often a call for balance. Overthinking traps us in a cycle of mental strain, while clinging to control creates rigidity in our lives. Carl Jung believed that true healing comes from making the unconscious conscious, facing the fears, doubts, or pressures we've buried. For Jake, it meant letting go of his need to control his business's fate. For Sarah, it meant releasing the pressure to be perfect. For you, it might mean something else, but it starts with one simple question. What am I holding on to that's causing this tension? Here's a quick practice to try right now. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Focus on your head and neck. Feel any tightness, any discomfort. Now, imagine that tension as a heavy weight you've been carrying. Maybe it's worry, a need for control, or a fear you haven't named. With each exhale, picture that weight lifting, floating away. Whisper to yourself, I don't need to carry this anymore. This small act of release can help you feel lighter, not just in your body, but in your mind. As Carl Jung would say, it's not about forcing the pain away, it's about creating space for clarity. Let's pause and reflect. What's one thought or worry that's been weighing on your mind? Maybe even showing up as a headache or stiff neck. Is it a decision you're overanalyzing? A situation you're trying to control? Share it in the comments if it resonates. Naming it can be the first step to letting it go. Your head and neck are asking for flexibility, for trust in life's flow. They're reminding you that you don't have to have all the answers right now. Here's the lesson. Your head and neck are begging you to let go of what you can't control. Carl Jung taught that true freedom comes from facing the shadow from embracing the parts of ourselves we've ignored. A headache isn't just a nuisance. It's a signal to slow down. A stiff neck isn't just tension. It's a call to be more open, to move with life instead of against it. As we move forward, we'll explore how other parts of your body, like your chest or back, carry their own messages. But for now, hold on to this. Your pain is a teacher, guiding you toward balance. What's your body asking you to release today? Think about it. And let's keep listening. Have you ever felt a tightness in your chest that you couldn't quite explain? It's not just a physical sensation. It's as if your heart is holding onto something heavy, something unspoken. Carl Jung, the brilliant mind behind modern psychology, taught us that the chest is more than just a physical space. It's the sanctuary of your deepest emotions, the place where grief, heartbreak, and unprocessed pain often settle. When your chest aches or feels constricted, it's rarely just a random discomfort. It's a silent cry from your soul, asking you to face the emotions you've buried and to release what's been weighing you down. Let's meet Sarah, a 38-year-old nurse who carried an invisible weight in her chest for years. After losing her mother to a long illness, Sarah threw herself into work, caring for patients with the same love she could no longer give her mom. But every night, as she lay in bed, she felt a tightness in her chest, like a knot that wouldn't loosen. Doctors found no physical cause, but Sarah knew something deeper was at play. One evening, during a quiet moment of reflection, she closed her eyes and placed her hand over her heart. Tears came as she realized she'd never fully grieved her mother's death. That tightness wasn't just physical, it was her body holding on to unprocessed sorrow, begging her to let it out. Carl Jung would say Sarah's chest pain was a message from her unconscious, a signal that her psyche needed to integrate the grief she'd suppressed. Carl Jung believed that the chest, home to the heart and lungs, is where we store our most profound emotions: love, loss, longing. When we refuse to feel these emotions, they don't vanish, they linger, manifesting as physical tension or pain. Carl Jung's concept of integration is key. Here, healing doesn't come from rejecting or avoiding pain, but from embracing it without judgment. When Sarah finally allowed herself to cry, to feel the weight of her loss, her chest began to feel lighter. Her body wasn't betraying her, it was guiding her toward healing. Let's look at another story. David, a 5-year-old accountant. I felt a persistent heaviness in his chest during a rocky period in his marriage. He and his wife argued constantly, but David avoided confronting the pain, telling himself, "It'll get better if I just keep the peace." But the more he suppressed his feelings, the more his chest tightened, as if his heart was trapped in a vice. One day, during a therapy session, David admitted he felt unloved and unheard. As he spoke those words, tears flowed, and the pressure in his chest eased slightly. His body was holding a silent cry, a longing for connection he'd buried to avoid conflict. By facing that truth, David took the first step toward healing. Not just his marriage, but himself. Carl Jung's teachings help us understand why the chest is so significant. The heart, in Carl Jung's view, is tied to the collective unconscious, carrying archetypal experiences of love, loss, and vulnerability. When we suppress grief, whether from a lost loved one, a broken relationship, or even a dream we let go, the chest becomes a vault, locking those emotions away. But as Carl Jung warned, what is not made conscious will manifest as fate. Unprocessed emotions don't disappear. They show up as tightness, as shallow breathing, as a heaviness that lingers. Your chest is asking you to open that vault, to feel what you've been avoiding, and to let it move through you. This process isn't easy. Facing grief or heartbreak can feel overwhelming, especially if you've spent years smiling through the pain, like Sarah and David did. But Carl Jung believed that true healing comes from integration, not avoidance. When you allow yourself to feel without judgment or resistance, you create space for release. You don't have to fix the pain. You just have to let it be. For Sarah, that meant crying for her mother. For David, it meant voicing his need for love. For you, it might mean acknowledging a loss you've carried in silence. Here's a simple practice to try. Place your hand over your chest, right where your heart is. Take a slow, deep breath and ask yourself, what am I still holding here? Is it grief you haven't processed, a heartbreak you've buried, a longing you've ignored? Don't judge the answer, just let it surface. As you exhale, imagine releasing that weight, even just a little. This small act of connection can help you feel what's been trapped, allowing your heart to breathe again. As Carl Jung would say, healing begins when you meet your pain with compassion. Let's pause and reflect. What unprocessed emotion might your chest be carrying? Maybe it's a loss you haven't fully mourned, a relationship that left you wounded, or a dream you let go. Share it in the comments if it feels right. Naming it can be the first step to letting it go. Your chest is a sacred space, holding the stories your heart needs to tell. It's asking you to listen, to feel, to release. Here's the lesson. Your chest is where grief lives, but it's also where healing begins. Carl Jung taught that integration, facing your emotions with honesty, is the path to wholeness. When you stop suppressing what your heart holds, you free yourself from the weight of unprocessed pain. Your chest isn't just aching, it's guiding you toward truth, toward freedom. As we move forward, we'll explore how other parts of your body, like your back and shoulders, carry their own messages. But for now, hold on to this, your heart is speaking. Are you ready to listen? What's one emotion your chest is asking you to face? Think about it. And let's keep going on this journey of healing. Have you ever felt like the weight of the world is resting on your shoulders? That persistent ache in your back or tightness in your shoulders isn't just a physical strain, it's a message from your soul, crying out for release. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, taught us that the back and shoulders are where we carry our heaviest emotional burdens, the responsibilities we take on, the expectations we try to meet, and the roles we play to keep everyone else afloat. When these parts of your body hurt, they're asking you to stop carrying what isn't yours and to reclaim your own strength, not for others, but for yourself. Let's meet Tom, a 42-year-old father and small business owner who always prided himself on being the strong one. He supported his aging parents financially, helped his teenage kids navigate school pressures, and kept his business running through tough times. But over the years, Tom noticed a constant pain in his upper back, like a heavy load that no chiropractor could fix. One night, exhausted from juggling everyone's needs, he sat down and asked himself, "What am I carrying that doesn't belong to me?" The answer hit hard. He'd been taking on his family's problems, believing it was his job to fix everything. His back pain wasn't just physical, it was his body begging him to set down the burdens he'd carried for too long. Carl Jung would say Tom's pain was a signal from his unconscious, a call to confront the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we suppress, like the need to say no or the fear of letting others down. Carl Jung believed the back and shoulders are symbolic pillars, holding up not just our physical frame but the emotional weight we take on. The upper back, in particular, tightens when we become the emotional support system for others at the cost of our own well-being. Carl Jung once said, "The heaviest burden we carry is the person we think we're supposed to be." For Tom, That person was the selfless provider. But his body was telling him it was time to let go of that role. The lower back, on the other hand, often holds deeper fears. Fears about stability, security, or the unknown future. Let's look at Maria, a 30-year-old freelance writer who struggled with chronic lower back pain during a period of financial uncertainty. Every unpaid bill or slow month would send a sharp ache through her lower back, as if her body was bracing for collapse. Docteurs prescribed stretch. But the pain persisted until Maria started reflecting on her fears. She realized her lower back pain flared up when she felt out of control. Worried about money or her future, her body was mirroring her anxiety, urging her to trust life's unfolding instead of carrying the weight of what-ifs. Jung's teachings help us see the deeper meaning here. The back and shoulders are tied to the collective unconscious, carrying archetypal roles like the caregiver or the hero roles we adopt to feel needed or secure. But when we take on more than we can bear, body protest. Pain in the upper back signals that you're carrying responsibilities that belong to others. Pain in the lower back reflects fears about survival or stability. Carl Jung's concept of integration comes into play. Healing requires facing these burdens, not ignoring them. It's about recognizing what's yours to carry and what needs to be released. This isn't easy. Letting go of the role of the strong one or confronting fears about the future can feel like betraying who you are. Tom worried that saying no to his family would make him selfish. Maria feared that trusting life would leave her vulnerable. But Carl Jung reminds us that true strength isn't about carrying everything. It's about knowing when to set it down. When Tom started delegating responsibilities and asking for help, his back pain began to fade. When Maria journaled about her fears and took small steps to trust her path, her lower back felt lighter. Their bodies weren't punishing them. They were guiding them toward freedom. Here's a simple practice to try. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Picture your emotional burdens as a heavy backpack strapped to your shoulders and back. With each exhale, imagine gently setting that backpack on the ground. Feel your spine lengthen, your shoulders relax. Whisper to yourself, "I don't have to carry this alone." This small act of release can help you feel lighter, reminding you that life doesn't demand you bear every weight. As Carl Jung would say, healing comes from letting go of the person you think you're supposed to be. Let's pause and reflect. What burden are you carrying that's showing up in your back or shoulders? Maybe it's a role you play for others, a responsibility you've taken on, or a fear about the future. Share it in the comments if it resonates. Naming it can be the first step to letting it go. Your back and shoulders are begging you to release what isn't yours, to stand tall in your own power. Here's the lesson: you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. Carl Jung taught that true healing comes from integrating the shadow, from facing the burdens we've taken on out of fear or expectation. Pain in your back or shoulders isn't just a strain, it's a call to set down what's not yours and trust that you're enough without it. As we move forward, we'll explore how your legs and feet carry messages about moving forward in life. But for now, hold on to this. Your body is asking for release. Are you ready to listen? What's one burden your back is asking you to let go of? Think about it. And let's keep walking this path of healing. Do your legs ever feel heavy, like they're stuck in place? Or do your feet ache as if they're unsure of the path you're on? These sensations aren't just physical, they're messages from your soul, signaling a deeper struggle to move forward in life. Carl Jung, the visionary psychologist, taught us that the legs and feet are more than just tools for walking. They represent our ability to progress, to take steps toward our goals, and to stay grounded in the present. When pain or heaviness strikes these areas, your body is whispering or sometimes shouting that something is holding you back. It's asking you to confront what's keeping you stuck and to trust the journey ahead. Let's meet Lisa, a 31-year-old teacher who loved her job but felt trapped in it. For years, She dreamed of starting her own tutoring business. But fear of failure kept her in place. Every time she thought about taking the leap, her legs would feel heavy, almost as if they were rooted to the ground. She also noticed persistent aches in her knees, especially during moments of doubt about her future. One day, while journaling, Lisa asked herself, "What's stopping me from moving forward?" The answer was clear: fear of the unknown, and a belief that she wasn't ready. Her leg pain wasn't just physical, it was her body reflecting her hesitation, urging her to take that first step. When Lisa finally enrolled in a small business course, her legs felt lighter, as if her body was celebrating her courage. Carl Jung would say Lisa's pain was a signal from her unconscious, a call to face the shadow, the hidden fears or doubts we bury to avoid discomfort. Carl Jung believed the legs and feet are tied to our ability to navigate life's journey. Pain or heaviness in the legs often points to stagnation, a resistance to change, or a fear of stepping into the unknown. Carl Jung's famous words, "What we resist persists," are especially true here. When we postpone decisions, cling to outdated situations, or let fear freeze us, our bodies respond with tension, heaviness, or pain. Your legs are begging you to move, to act, to trust that the next step is yours to take. The feet, meanwhile, are your anchor to the earth, symbolizing stability and connection to the present moment. Persistent foot pain can signal uncertainty about your path, or a feeling that you don't belong where you are. Let's look at James, a 27-year-old graphic designer who felt constant discomfort in his feet. He worked at a corporate job that paid well but left him uninspired. Every morning, as he walked into the office, his feet ached, as if resisting the path he was on. During a weekend retreat, James reflected on his life and realized he'd been walking a road that wasn't his. His foot pain was his body's way of saying, "This isn't your place." When he started pursuing freelance projects that aligned with his passion, the pain began to fade. His feet were guiding him back to a path that felt true. Carl Jung's teachings help us understand this connection. The legs and feet are linked to the collective unconscious, carrying archetypal experiences of movement, exploration, and grounding. When we resist life's flow, whether by staying in a job, relationship, or mindset that no longer serves us, our bodies protest. Leg pain might reflect a fear of change or a decision you're avoiding. Foot pain might signal a disconnect from the present, a sense that you're not where you're meant to be. Carl Jung's concept of integration comes into play. Healing requires facing these fears, not ignoring them. It's about taking small, intentional steps toward a life that aligns with your truth. This process can feel daunting. Moving forward often means leaving behind what's familiar, and that can stir up fear or doubt. Lisa worried that starting her business would fail. James feared leaving his stable job for an uncertain future. But Carl Jung reminds us that growth lies on the other side of resistance. As he said, "What we resist persists." When Lisa took action despite her fear, her legs felt lighter. When James chose a path that resonated with his soul, his feet found ease. Their bodies weren't punishing them, they were guiding them toward freedom. Here's a simple practice to try. Find a quiet space and walk barefoot for a few minutes. Whether on grass, sand, or your floor, with each step, feel the ground beneath you. Imagine roots growing from your feet, connecting you to the earth. As you walk, ask yourself, what's holding me back from moving forward? Is it a fear, a decision you're avoiding, or a path that no longer feels right? With each step, picture yourself releasing that weight and stepping into your truth. This grounding exercise can help you feel centered, reminding you that you're supported as you move forward. Let's pause and reflect. What's one thing in your life that's making your legs feel heavy or your feet unsure? Maybe it's a job that drains you, a relationship that holds you back, or a dream you're afraid to chase. Share it in the comments if it resonates. Naming it can be the first step to breaking free. Your legs and feet are asking you to move, to trust, to take that next step. Here's the lesson. Your legs and feet are calling you to move forward, to trust life's flow. Carl Jung taught that healing comes from integrating the shadow, from facing the fears that keep us stuck. Pain in your legs or feet isn't just discomfort, it's a signal to act, to step into the unknown, to walk a path that's yours. As we wrap up, we'll soon explore how to carry this wisdom into your life. But for now, hold on to this. Your body is guiding you toward your truth. Are you ready to take the next step? What's one step you're ready to take today? Think about it. And let's keep moving on this path of healing. Your pain isn't just a burden, it's a guide. A whisper from your soul, leading you to healing and wholeness. Through this journey, inspired by Carl Jung's profound wisdom, we've uncovered the hidden spiritual messages behind your body's aches, from the headaches signaling overthinking to the chest holding unprocessed grief, the shoulders carrying others' burdens, and the legs urging you to move forward. Your body has been speaking all along. Carl Jung taught us that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. By listening to your body's wisdom, you're breaking that cycle, stepping into your power, and embracing the truth of who you are. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning. Your body is your ally, guiding you toward a life aligned with your deepest truth. So, don't stop here. If this video spoke to your heart, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to join the Jung Psyche Hub community, where we dive deeper into the mysteries of the psyche and the path to self-discovery. Share this video with someone who needs to hear their body's message, maybe a friend struggling with pain they can't explain. Like this video to spread this wisdom, and drop a comment below. What's one pain your body's been asking you to listen to? And what's the first step you'll take to heal? Your story could spark someone else's transformation. The world needs your light, not your silence. Stop ignoring your body's whispers and start honoring its truth. Let's keep this journey of healing going together.